Okay. If it is false, then only it is going to do the partial processing mechanism. So let's check that as well. Save. Yeah. And this should again throw the error. Okay. Right. So this parameter which we passed true, it is acting as same our DML statement. So we need to pass it as false. So when we pass it as false, then we are telling the database dot insert method that you go ahead and uh, act and follow the non partial processing mechanism, ignore the records which has errors, and please gather those information and give it to me. So that we are saying it. But yes, that gathering and giving it to us, that we will have to handle it. Okay. So for that, I'm using my database dot save result class. So database dot save result class. For that, I'm creating an instance results, and I'm storing the output of this statement into my results, uh, of type database dot save result. Okay. So here, this particular result we will have to handle. So our, as we were discussing, so the database dot save result class has this three methods, right? So is success, get ID, and error, get errors. So we can also handle these particular methods and get the information. So if we can check which records has been success, and we can check which records has errors. So we can also do that. So let's go ahead and write that particular thing in our code. So right. So for that, first we need to uh, traverse through the elements present in this. So by default, this database dot save result is holding only one single element, but since we are instantiating and creating an array of it, so yes, this is going to hold multiple records now. So for traversing through that particular records, we will have to use uh, iterative statement. So I'm using for loop for my database dot save result. And let's say rec, some name, whatever you want to give. And I am passing this results into for iterating in my for loop. Yeah, and in this, I need to handle two different cases. One is success and one is the error. So first one, let's take an example of success. So if the dot is success, so if it is success, then what I need to print out my message saying the record has been inserted successfully. And if I need to add the record ID, I can get it, right? ID. So here it is get ID. So we are making use of all three methods of our save result class. So here we made use of two, is success and get ID. So this is how we handle is success. Else, if it is false, so in the false case, what we wanted to do is we want to uh, handle the errors. Okay. So for handling the errors, we will have to create our database dot error instantiate our database dot error method, error class. Let's say errors is equals to rec dot our method. What is the method? Get errors, right? Database dot error of errors is equals to our for loop rec. Okay, rec dot get errors. Get okay, right. And here for this also we have two different cases, because the error code we want to see and also the affected fields also we want to see, right? So for that I wanted to traverse through the error class fields of it. So in that case what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down my error message also. So for database dot error rec error, and I'm passing this errors. And here what I wanted to do, system dot debug and error message is. So how do I get that error message? My method again. So if we call that rec error dot, what is the message? Get message. So error class, we have a method called get message, right? So yes. Yeah, so we have to do the partial processing mechanism and also record the results also. So yes, So I have added that particular code. Let's execute. So error message, use one of the records. Error status code is duplicates detected and affected fields are okay. So we can see the messages here. So let's go ahead and see whether those records has been inserted or not. I guess I executed it twice. Let's see. Test lead. Yeah. So we have executed twice and there was bulk records of 50 records has been added twice. Okay. Right. And also we are going to handle the error messages also. So those error messages we have cached and understood also, right? So this is how we can write a simple example class for that particular. So let me put it in my notes. And the execution code, right? So this is all about the example for my database class methods. Okay. So merge statement we have dealt, and also the database class methods we have dealt. So right. So this is all about the DML statements. Yeah, before proceeding to next topic, since we have little time, I would like to have a small discussion on the users. Okay. So let's take an example of the, you know, uh, while discussing the users, do you remember? Okay, I have a question for all of you. So I wanted to delete 10 users at a time. Can I do it? How do I do it?
In Salesforce, we cannot delete a user.
Sorry,
We
repeat.
cannot delete. We cannot delete the user.
Okay, so then what do I need to do?
We can
Freeze him.
Sorry.
We can freeze him.
Mm-hmm.
When we freeze him,
So
the license
yeah. So if we
freeze him, the
freeze,
license
are
gets
we going to get the license back? I have licenses, right? License
So I was
issues.
just
we can deactivate.
Yeah, right. So in Salesforce, we cannot delete the user. We can either deactivate or freeze the user. So let's say some uh, female employee is going on a maternity leave. So I would prefer uh, to freeze her account, no, not the deactivate, because she is expected to come back again. So I would be freezing the account. So when we freeze a user, so the license is not going to be claimed back. This license is still on hold with the same account. Okay, but if the user has left the organization, so in that case I will have to go ahead and deactivate the user. So once I deactivate the user, the license allocated to that particular user is going to be claimed back, and we can reuse the license again. So this is the difference between freeze and deactivate. Okay, so let us go ahead. Yes, any questions? Somebody was talking in between. All right, so let us go ahead and write a small piece of code for deactivating a user. Okay, so how do we deactivate? So till now we were dealing with accounts, contacts, lead, objects, right? So let's go ahead and write a small program dealing with the user object. Okay, so we will be writing an Apex program to deactivate a user. So based on the username given. Okay. So before that, I would like to check what are the users available in my organization. Let me go ahead and check it. So here I am on my org. So how do I go to users? Just asking because if you have done some hands-on or not, just to check. Yeah, how should I go to users? All the users. Anyone?
Go to the profile.
Yeah, see, I am on my org. Tell me where should I go to get the users?
Go to setup.
Setup, right? Okay.
Yeah. If fine, you have the users in the administration too.
You can search for on the quick find, you can search. Okay. Yeah, users. So here are the users who are available on my Salesforce org. Okay. So these are the users. So I'm going to write a small program to deactivate any one of them. I just want to check who are available. Okay. So let's go ahead and write the simple code and to deactivate a user. So this is altogether completely a different program. So let's go ahead and write a small code for it specifically. So, okay, DML operations helper to delete, deactivate a user, or we can write another class as well. But okay, we'll write another class, new Apex class. So deactivate user is my class name. Okay, so in that particular class, I want to write a method public static void. So what do I need to do? I need to deactivate a user. So based on the string, the username given. Okay. So what should I write? Let's write remove user, something like that. I'm just writing, but okay. I don't want to keep class name and method name same. Users, okay, and string and username. So we need to pass the username at the runtime, and then we will be able to deactivate that particular user with the username. Okay, so public class deactivate user and public static void deactivate users. So here, how should I get the user? So how should I get whether the user is there or not? So how should I find that first thing? So first condition I need to check is the whether that particular the given thing is a user or not. If the given input is a username or not. Let's say user one. Okay. If user one not equals to null, right? Null and user one not equals to empty. So I'm just checking null or empty is not passed in my at the runtime. So if that is the case, then only I'm going to perform the operation. Okay. So for that, how do I need to do? So I need to pull out some details from my user object, right? So yes, and I need to store it in my object. So for that, how do I need to do? I need to create an object for the user. User object, user 2D, let's say. Okay. This is the object which we have. Sorry, user class we have, and we are creating an object for it. And what do we need to fetch? So I want to fetch some details from my user object. So I'm using a SQL query, select. Okay, so what details we need for the user to be to process that particular user? So usually it's ID, first name, last name, and we need the username. And also, if we need to deactivate, the user should be active first. So that also we need, right? So select ID, first name, ID, first name, last name, and username, and is active. So these are the fields which are available from on my user object. Okay, so first name, last name, username is active from user, and where the username is the given one, right? That's the condition I need. So first name, last name is active, username is active from my user object, and where username. So username. So how do we need to give this particular condition? It has some specific type of operator, right? In operator, but this is the symbol for the in operator. So username in my user one, and one other condition, what it is, just now I told you. So to deactivate a user, first the user should be active, right? And is active is equals to true, right? So right, so username in my username and is active is true. Okay, so this is the condition I want to use, and yeah, by this way I'm fetching the record. So you can use a normal and as well, because this SQL query and the logical operator and also. So yes, we fetched the record. Okay, and now we want to deactivate. So if we want to deactivate, the user ID is not null. Let's user to delete dot id not equals to null. So if this condition is true, then I'm going to go ahead and reactivate the user. Okay, so that means that particular user has a user ID, and then only I'm going to deactivate not equals to null. Then how to deactivate the user? What should I do?
You should make the is active to false.
Correct. Okay. And then what should I do after that? User dot is active equals to false. Okay. So yes, I deactivated the user. Now,
And do we need to give time? I mean, today like that.
I didn't get it. So once we execute this program, it's going to deactivate that user.
So okay.
Okay. Is it, or do we need to do anything else? So we marked him. After that, so what is the topic we have discussed till now? DML statements, right? So I just put the is active as false, but do I need to have updated, right? I have to update the record. Otherwise, it won't take effect, right? Update. And what is it? update my this one, this record, the user to delete record of the user. Does this make sense? Is it all good? Okay, now find out the error here. Where is our error? I mean that unexpected token. So public class deactivate user, static void deactivate users is our method, and string user1 we are passing. If user1 not equals null and user1 not equals to empty, then we are selecting that particular user. Okay, so how? ID, first name, last name, username is active from user, where username is in user1, yes, and is active is true. Okay, that record we are collecting here into our user 2D record. So if the user 2D record dot ID is not equals to null, and we are marking the is active as false, that means we are deactivating him, and then we are updating. We are performing the DML operation, right? Where is the error? Can anyone see the error here? Yeah. Any error? If, and this is one other if condition, and semicolons are all there. You're not expecting, but this doesn't make an issue, right? Okay, 9 and 10. Okay, what's the issue here? Anyone can see the issue here? If statement, and in that another if, and then okay. So we are making both the if statements individual, but it shouldn't be the case. And okay, yeah, now it should be good. This, yes, should be good. Okay, so did you understand this particular program, or do you have any questions here? Variable user to D does not exist. Why is it so? Yeah, what's the problem? Can anyone analyze it? User to D. This is correct. User 1 and user. Okay, let's take it as user 2 simply. And user 2. But it doesn't make any difference. Okay. User 2. User 2 dot id, user 2 dot. Okay. Okay, it is actually picking some keywords probably. Now the error should go then.
Update user 2. No.
Yeah. So error should disappear. I'm waiting for that. User 2D, I don't have that, right? Anywhere, user 2, user 2, user 2, yeah. And save it. And okay, so this is our class. Deactivate user class, and in that deactivate users is our, and here, so which user we wanted to pass? Let's select one user. Okay, I don't want to delete the users which are useful. Okay, so the username we have to pass. Team leader, team member we are using. Okay, let's delete the testing user. Okay, so this is the username for the testing user. So we have to pass the username. Okay, so let's go pass this username, testing user, right? And it's a string. You have to enclose within single quotes. Put the semicolon, right? Deactivate, and I have saved it, right? Why my system is slow? Okay, now it's saved and I'm running this particular piece of code. Okay, let's execute. So there is no messages for us, but the user should get deleted. Okay, so there is no debug statements which we have written, but let's go ahead and see whether that particular user is deactivated or not. Okay, not deleted. So here, if you see, it's active. So this should disappear now. Okay, after the refresh. So let's do refresh. Testing user, right? The user got deactivated. Okay, so we can do it directly from UI, but this is how we can do it from the programming.
From the program,
Right?
it's very lengthy process.
No, but yeah. Just I wanted to demo a different object other than account contact lead, right? So right, and yeah, yeah, it's lengthy process, but if it is kind of different repetitive work, probably writing code is better than doing it manually one by one. So yeah, depends on the requirement. Okay, so that is all about the DML statements. So our next class would be on Friday.